Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today I'm going to do something I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is prototype out a Woodsman's axe or small axe. This is going to be designed for general bushcraft use, but also for use as a Sawyers tool. My goal here is to develop a model that will be available in quantity, whatever quantity that is, and the intended purpose for this small axe will be for use in felling trees with a chainsaw, as well as general bushcraft use, something that will fit in your pack. Now, there's some specific design characteristics that I want in this for these reasons, and the first one is a 2-pound head, and that's a little bit heavier than you would typically find in an axe this size, and I'm talking about something with about a 20-inch handle. So a large hatchet or a small axe, something that you can put in your pack, but or carry on your belt, wear on your belt as a Sawyer, and use. But when you add a little more weight to the head, that allows you to get some more work done. And so whether you're pounding wedges or you just want to get a little more oomph out of your chopping ability with this small axe, that's where it's going to shine. So we're going to start with this piece of 1060 high carbon steel, 1060 medium carbon steel. I'm so used to saying high carbon most of the time. And we need a chunk that is 4 1/4 inches long, if my steel weight calculations are correct. This is 3/4 inch by 2.5 inch, and we need a little extra for material loss during forging. So let's whack off a couple chunks here. Alright, it's time for after forging review. So, obviously these need a little more work to be finished. These are actually the first and third billets that I started working with. This is the second one, which I totally screwed up, as you can see. I got a little too impatient on the punching and actually mushroomed my punch out a little bit. Had to redress that. So the first thing that I'm noticing is that with this 3/4 inch stock, it's not ideal. 1 inch would be better. Now for a hatchet up to, I'm guessing, about 1.5 pounds, this size of stock is just fine. But once you start trying to up your weight and get more meat in there, I really think some 1 inch stock would be much better. Probably 2.5 inch wide would still be great. Of course I could forge this down and make it 1 inch, but that's just another extensive step that you don't want to have to do. So I'll probably be getting a stick of 1 inch wide stock for the small axes and stuff moving forward. The other thing is that the narrower width here makes it a little more difficult to punch. It wants to turn to tip on you. As you probably saw, I was trying to adjust my my eye as I was punching it, which is not conducive to a smooth process, but we got it done. Along those lines too is that you have a certain eye size, and if the eye is wider than your stock is to begin with, that makes it a little more difficult to make that transition, I'm finding. This one turned out better than this one in some respects, and both of these are going to be cleaned up and be a serviceable tool. I'm still feeling out how I want to build this particular model, and I don't know if I gave myself enough extra stock, because the way we're forging these, you could spend a little more time forging in the bit here, but that's not necessary. But it is necessary to give yourself more stock to remove if you're going to do it like this and then take off the ears here that form. I figured out that I simply can't hold enough heat on the cheeks here to stamp my maker's mark. So with a press, if you had some kind of a trip hammer or something, it would probably work. But also my maker's mark has some finer details that probably wouldn't hold up to that. So just went ahead with putting the maker's mark out here in the bit, which actually looks pretty cool. So we'll just run with that. So the next thing we need to do is clean these up. I like to clean up the profiles and everything. Do all of the grinding except for the bevel and a little bit on the heel, and then we'll get these things hardened and tempered, and we'll move on from there. So as you saw, I did a water quench on the two axes here, and the reason I did that is because we're working with 1060, which is a medium carbon steel want to achieve full hardness. It is not a deep hardening steel, obviously. And I still did not get the hardness indicators that I should have. So I even ground off some steel on the end of the bit to take care of any decarb, and still didn't get, you know, that file to skate like it should have. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-quench at 1550 degrees. I thought I could get away with 1500, and you know, and a soak time not happening. So we'll do that. You know, once you drop below the eutectoid point of 0.77% or round it up to 0.8%, you have to have either more heat and or more time in order to get the carbon dispersed throughout, because there's less carbon to go around, in order to get the hardness that you're after. And so we'll try it at 1550. That should be good. We'll check it again, and then if everything's, you know, performing like it should, we'll go ahead and temper it and move on. Okay, so that's a lot better. We've got some good indication of the hardness on this steel, so it's ready for a temper. The axes are done. Okay, so we have these all cleaned up, the bevel ground, the pole cleaned up, and these are now ready for some handles. What I'm going to do is actually, I want to experiment with a straight handle on this one, and then this one will get the traditional curved axe handle. So let's go get some hickory and make some handles. So like I mentioned before, I want these handles to be right around 20 inches. You know what? I thought I wanted these to be around 20 inches, and I don't. I want them to be around 24 inches. Okay, because that's going to be, yeah, so I'm going to give myself an extra inch for, yeah, 24-inch handle. That's what I want this to be. That's what I had envisioned in my mind, and I didn't ever take a tape measure out and like see what that actually was, but that's the length that I had in mind. So that's what we'll do here. Alright guys, there you have it. I'll show you some pictures of the axes in just a second, but I'm excited. This is, I guess, stage one of developing this Woodsman's Bushcraft axe, Sawyers axe, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure if the handle length is a little bit long now. I'm not really sure. I mean, it looks good as it sits. I know it's going to function nicely as a small axe. I'm confident of that. Whether it's going to be ideal for like a Sawyers axe for pounding wedges and this kind of stuff, not really sure about that part. Kind of missed the head weight by I think about a quarter pound, so in the future we'll have to add extra stock if we want to get up to that quarter pound, but I think this is a really nice size, so we'll see if we actually need to get up to 2 pounds. I'm not really sure. I'm not actually going to do any testing on these axes. I'm going to send them up to my brother in North Idaho, where he's just started a YouTube channel recently, Panhandle Hermit. He's up there cutting down trees, mechanicking, you know, doing whatever else professional rednecks do. So he's going to put these axes through the paces. If you're interested in seeing how they do, what they do, his opinion on it, check out his channel. I'll link it here at the end of the video, and it's also featured under featured channels on this channel here. So I'm excited to see the axes in action up there in the woods and see if there's any feedback, stuff we need to tweak, that kind of thing. So that's exciting. In the meantime, as always, appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you on the next video.